Hi guys! So in today's video we have something really fun planned. I'm going to be showing you 25 different examples of different books you can make for Amazon KDP to increase your royalties and income. Alright, so the first one is a travel guide. Travel guides can be really fun to make. This can be for your city, for your country, for your state. Just make sure you actually know something about the place you're making this book about. And then the things you can include in that would be things you can do, places to see, best restaurants, things to avoid, the tips for the different places you're going to, and obviously pictures. So that could be something really fun and creative to do. Then next up we have a children's book. Children's books sell really well on Amazon. It's a very big niche overall. Obviously, when making this kind of book, you need to find your own niche and niche down. That would be the key thing for this. Cleo and I have done kids story books and have done really well with them. So that's one thing you can also look into. If you don't know how to write kids storybooks yourself, you can either learn how to do it or you can use AI for inspiration and for prompts and then edit them and enhance them yourself just to make sure they're really high quality. And if that is also not of interest for you, you can also hire a ghostwriter on Upwork or on Fiverr and have them write you stories for your own book. So that's something you could consider. These books definitely do well. Then next we have cookbooks. So cookbooks are also really fun to make. That is actually how Cleo and I started our own Amazon KDP journey back in 2019. Our very first book was a cookbook and a meal plan, and we loved making them. It was super fun, and that book also ended up doing really well for us, luckily. So cookbooks could be about a certain type of diet or a certain kind of meal plan or certain ingredients, things like that. You can get very creative and find lots and lots of different niches. Obviously, when making a cookbook, don't just take someone else's recipes. You have to make them your own. You have to make them unique, and they actually have to make sense. I've seen a lot of cookbooks that just have a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't actually make sense. It doesn't actually turn out a good recipe and just a whole bunch of garbage, so stay away from that. So just always, no matter what book you make sure it is high quality and is worthy of getting a 5-star. Alright, so next we have a coffee table picture book. Picture books are also super popular. They can be super fun to make. Obviously, all you need is really high quality pictures, and then that could be through your own photography or through using artificial intelligence or using copyright-free images. Totally up to you, just make sure you do it right. But these can be easy to make. Obviously, these would be colored books. You can make these in softcover and hardcover. Usually for coffee table books, hardcover versions would also be a good idea. And we have also done some of these, and oftentimes we actually make them square. Just one idea for you. Then next up we have math workbooks. It can also be a good thing. Obviously you have to be educated in terms of what kind of math workbooks or worksheets to make for kids and what age groups that would be and what age ranges that would be, so you're not misleading anybody. But one thing you can always do is look at the competition and then take inspiration from that and see what interiors they're making and what age ranges those are for, and then doing that. But obviously, just once again, make sure it's always high quality. Then next up, here we have poetry books. Poetry books can also be really fun to make. And if you don't know how to write poetry, then you can also use ChatGPT for inspiration and then polish those up. Or you can use a freelancer on Upwork and Fiverr and ask them to write some poetry for you. So something else to consider. Then next up we have guidebooks. So how-to books, guidebooks, things like that. So this example is for crochet for beginners. So if you have a special skill that you can write about, consider doing that. That could also be really fun for you. And obviously all these examples I'm showing you, these are actually independently published books. So these are not books from big publishing houses. Everything I've shown you so far and all the other books coming up, they're all independently published. Alright, so next up we have joke books. These are super popular, especially during Christmas times. So that is also something you can consider. This is something you can also use AI and ChatGPT for, to write jokes about certain topics and themes or for certain types of people. But obviously, if you're using AI, once again, just double check everything, make sure the grammar is correct, make sure they actually make sense. Or you can always just be even more creative and invent your own jokes and then go that way. Yeah, so that's something to consider. One of the books Cleo and I have made was a joke book that was a stocking stuffer for Christmas, and that ended up doing really well for us. So that's just one idea you can also look at. Then next we have word search books. Word search books have done really well for Cleo and I. We have done lots and lots of those types of books, and you can use our tools on selfpublishingtitans.com to create word searches. So this is one thing that we're really passionate about, is activity and puzzle books, and that is majority of what we have done for our own Amazon KDP journey. So I highly recommend looking at smaller niches within the word search area and see if you can get inspiration for that. Then next we have password logbooks. Those can be also, then next up we have password logbooks. Those can also be really good to create and also super easy to make. So if you're looking for something a little bit easier and a little bit more time friendly, then you can look at making some logbooks. And there's lots of different logbooks you can make. A password logbook is just one example, but like I said, super easy and super simple to make, and they can also be fun. Then next up, we have an expense tracker. So this is always for people that need to keep track of their expenses for business or personal or both. So this is also something you can consider. Next up, we have a mileage logbook. Mileage logbooks are useful for people that use vehicles for work and that want to deduct the mileages on their taxes. There might be other reasons, but that is just one of them. And these kinds of books are also really easy to make. And obviously every page would be repetitive. Then next up, we have maze books. This could be for adults. This could be for kids. It could be for seniors, for teenagers. You can choose any age group and just make sure you niche down. You can use our tool on selfpublishingtitans.com to make mazes. We have many different maze tools. We have ones for different shapes. We have ones to make different letters into mazes. So you can get really creative and make lots of different varieties. All right, so next up we have a health logbook. So this can be for blood sugar, for different health conditions. You can look at different niches and see what you can make. These could also be fairly simple to make. You just have to make sure that they're actually useful and accurate and exactly what they're looking for. But to do that, you can also once again just look at the competition and see what kind of interior pages they have. And sometimes what Cleo and I have liked doing in the past is ordering someone's book so we can actually see the entirety of it to take inspiration from that and make our own version based on that. All right, so next up we have gratitude journals. These can also be really easy and really fun to make, and there's lots of different sub niches within a journal niche. So there's lots of different types of journal books you can make, so maybe also worthwhile your time to deep dive into this kind of niche and see what you can find for that. But once again, a lot of these can also be really fun to make. You can really get creative with it, so make sure to check that out. Then next up we have a guest book. Guest books could be for weddings, it can be for Airbnbs, but obviously don't use Airbnb in your title because that's a trademark and that's something you always want to stay away from. But you can also have it for a birthday or for any type of big event, so you can make guest books for that. Those are also fairly simple to make and fast, so that's something good. Next up we have like event planning books. This could be for weddings, for birthdays, anniversaries, or some other big functions. Just type in event planner and use Titans Pro Chrome extension just to see all the other suggestions, and you can see all the different niches for it, and then maybe you can find something that you're interested in making. All right, so next up we just have a wedding planner notebook. Those can also be fun to make and quite simple, something to check out. Next up we have coloring books. Obviously coloring books are super popular on Amazon, and the key with coloring books is to niche down. You want to have a smaller niche that you can start in, and smaller niches would be niches that have keywords with at least 4 words or longer. So let's make sure you find niches that are small enough that you can actually compete in. And to make these kinds of books, you can use our coloring book maker on Self-Publishing Titans. We have over 9,000 different coloring elements that our 2 illustrators have hand drawn. So you can have a lot of fun making those kind of book interiors and then selling those on Amazon. Then next up we have crossword puzzles. Crossword puzzles are super popular, as I'm sure you already know. And for crossword puzzles, you can target different age groups, for kids, for teenagers, adults, seniors, for different types of audiences. And then once again, the key is just to niche down. So you can use our Titans Pro Chrome extension to see all the search suggestions and look for smaller niches that are not saturated just yet. And then to make these crossword puzzles, you can also use our tool on Self-Publishing Titans. We have a crossword tool where you can make them quite easily too. All right, so next we have music composition notebooks. Those can be also really fun and easy to make. These pages are obviously also repetitive, so once you have the perfect sample page, you can just use those for most of the book, and this can also be fun to make and quite easy. So make sure to check out this niche and see what kind of sub niches there might be. Next, this is quite interesting. You've seen notebooks and composition books, but one thing that I recently saw is unruled notebooks. So that's something that you can explore and maybe you never even thought of it. And this could be something that could be less competitive and you might find some good niches within that. So I'm just throwing that out there for you to consider. Next, we also have mini composition books. So something nice with Amazon KDP is that you can publish many different sizes of books. So something you can consider is also making the smallest possible books for different kinds of books or different niches, and then those can also do really well. Cleo and I have found a few good niches for really small books, and we've done really well in that. So sometimes all you need to do to stand out is to be the smallest book in the niche instead of the biggest book. All right, so then next we have quotes books. Quote books can also be really popular. Obviously only use quotes that you're allowed to use, or create your own quotes, or use ChatGPT free to help you create quotes in certain subjects or topics, and then that could also be really fun to make. And then next up, we have a Bible workbook or guidebook, so you can make workbooks on different topics and themes and hobbies. So anything that you're interested in yourself, see if you can think of a workbook that you can make for that, and then see if there's a demand for it on Amazon. All right, and then lastly, we have a daily habit tracker. You can make different tracking books for different activities and different things for a person's life. And there's quite a lot of sub niches within that. Yeah, so it's all about looking at different types of books, different niches, and then getting creative with each of them and then making a high quality book that you can publish. All right, so I hope you found this video useful and that you got some inspiration from it. And then I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.